So here we are at Camp Mystic. I was about to do a live shot and law enforcement came up and said we had to evacuate because a water wall is coming. So our crew is packing up, and quickly I just wanted to show you where I am. I mean, these are the cabins where the little girls were sleeping during the flash flooding over 4th of July. And I can't stop thinking about the fact I was a little camper in one of those cabins 30 years ago. And this river right here, the Guadalupe River, was a source of so much joy and fun. We would use the blob where someone would jump on it and then the person at the end would fly into the water. We would go looking for dinosaur fossils. We loved it here. And to think that this same river was the source of so much heartache and terror and devastation, I just can't wrap my head around it. I can't stop thinking about those little girls who were in their decorated bunk beds and their trunks, waking up to horror, the family members coming out here to look for their loved ones.
In the gate and the rough. Uneventful start for Mystic Dan. He breaks near the front. Alexander Helios with some speed, and Hall of Fame too. An Antiquarian is up there as well. Mystic Dan's going to pull out of there, angle over toward the inside. Alexander Helios leads the way to the clubhouse turn.
Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Donald Trump. We're all cut from the same cloth.
Antiquarian right alongside second, and Hall of Fame is 3 wide racing in third. Mystic Dan right up against the rail, fourth and down inside. And then it's Tennessee Lamb racing in fifth by 3 or 4. Banishing near the back with late running post time. They're 10 lengths off the leading Alexander Helios, who hits the backstretch run.
First, there's 2 Trumps.
Okay.
The one in the red tie is the real one. The one in the blue tie is not. The one you saw last night after the victory was the blue tie. Now, if you would punch up Dr. Carson, Ben Carson, when Trump called him a pedophile, and the next day he joined Trump. And the guy asked him, see, every now and then you slip and say something? He said, why'd you do that? He said, it's 2 Trumps. I was with the good one. You see it there?
You're crazy.
Am I?
The one in the red tie is the real one. The one in the blue tie is not.
After an opening quarter that's on the board in 22 and 4. So Alexander Helios leads the way down the backstretch. Antiquarian prompting second. Hall of Fame is stalking them intently on the outside third.
In 1804, deep political and personal rifts led Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr to duel. Why? Hamilton didn't trust Burr's political ambitions, and Burr resented of Hamilton's influence. Their conflict peaked with Burr's challenge. Dueling was their tragic resolution. July 11th, dawn, Weehawken, New Jersey, the historic duel setting. Dueling was illegal nearby in New York. Pistols were chosen. The men stood, paced off 10 paces, tension high. Witnesses turned away as the duelists took aim, adhering to the code of honor. A single shot rang out. Hamilton was hit, mortally wounded. Burr's shot had found its mark, but the victory was hollow. His career suffered. Hamilton died the next day.
Mystic Dan still down inside, fourth inside of Tennessee Lamb. Post time and Banishing are catching up to the others. It's a tighter pack as they head for the far turn. 4 furlongs to go. Alexander Helios, an Antiquarian, still going head and head for the lead. Hall of Fame perched out 3 wide. Mystic Dan is set to strike in behind fourth. Banishing begins to roll from the back of the pack. Here comes Banishing now. Quick move on the far turn. And post time is following him as they come for the top of the stretch. Hall of Fame Antiquarian, Mystic Dan cut the corner again off the turn and grabbed the lead right at the top of the stretch. The Derby winner's in front with a furlong to go. Mystic Dan the leader, furlong to hold it. Hall of Fame's trying hard. Banishing's flattened out an Antiquarian, but it's Mystic Dan first beneath the Twin Spires once again. Mystic Dan, no need for the photo.
Not doing it will be catastrophic. We'll have 8 degrees, we'll be 8 degrees hotter in not 10, but in 30 or 40 years, and basically none of the crops will grow. Most of the people will have died, and the rest of us will be cannibals. Civilization will have broken down. What the few people who are left will be living in a failed state like Somalia or Sudan, and living conditions will be intolerable. The droughts will be so bad there'll be no more corn growing. But not doing it is suicide. Just like dropping bombs on each other, nuclear weapons is suicide. So we've got to stop doing the 2 suicidal things. which are hanging on to our nuclear weapons,
and global
and then after that, we've got to stabilize the population. When I was born, there were
so what's wrong with the population? I mean,
with too many people. That's why we have global warming.
Good evening. I'm Wade Johnson in New York at ABC News headquarters. We're coming on the air at this hour because we have breaking news. President Trump has just announced on social media that the U.S. has just completed 3 successful attacks on 3 nuclear sites in Iran. This is the post that he put out just a short time ago. We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordo. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Just like dropping bombs on each other, nuclear weapons is suicide. So we've got to stop doing the 2 suicidal things, which are hanging on to our nuclear weapons, and global, and then after that, we've got to stabilize the population. When I was born, there were
so what's wrong with the population? I mean,
with too many people. That's why we have global warming. We have global warming because too many people are using too much stuff.
People across Texas and really the world have donated more than $2 million so far towards flooding recovery. Shakira has donated part of the proceeds from her show last night in San Antonio to the city's Catholic Charities. That nonprofit is directly helping flood victims. The Dallas Cowboys and the Houston Texans joined the NFL Foundation to support the victims. Kendra Scott and Tiff's Treats are donating 100% of sales to the county. Red Cross has chosen not to donate due to the outpouring of funds. Instead, they are focusing their efforts on the ground, providing shelters and meeting immediate needs. Pope Leo XIV is offering prayers for Texas flooding victims. The Pope posted on X this morning. He expressed condolences to families who lost loved ones, and he specifically mentioned the girls at the summer camp when the Guadalupe River flooded. And former President George W. Bush is also offering prayers for flood victims in his home state. He released a statement today from Maine. Former President Bush said he and his wife, former First Lady Laura Bush, are, quote, heartbroken by the loss of life from this weekend's devastating flooding. The former president specifically mentioned the families who lost children at Camp Mystic. He said they are, quote, facing a grief no parent should ever know.
Deagle.com website. It's a company. I don't know who the company or who formed the company, but they put up a thing up here about, what 2017, like the population of the United States, military spending, GDP, and then they have this forecast for 2025. And it says 100 million, and GDP is 2.4 trillion, and military spending is only 32 billion.
And I'll be supporting a record-setting $1 trillion investment in our national defense. We're going to go $1 trillion, the largest in the world, largest ever in our country, but no other country's invested that much. We have a $1 trillion budget for military this year. And we have tremendous plans, including increasing the scope of Selfridge. And I recently signed an order to begin construction of the Golden Dome missile defense shield to protect our homeland from missile attack. We're going to call it the Golden Dome. We had the Iron Dome, but somehow, Gretchen, Golden Dome sounds better to me.
Now to the devastating floods in central Texas. President Trump has approved a major disaster declaration for parts of the state that have been hit by those devastating floods. FEMA now on the ground to assist with search and rescue efforts. At least 78 people have died, dozens more still unaccounted for after torrential rains caused the Guadalupe River to rise to 26 feet, its second highest level ever. ABC's Jim Ryan has the details.
More than 400 first responders from 20 different agencies are helping in the efforts, carrying out more than 1,000 rescues since Friday, in some cases using helicopters to reach victims clinging to trees. Aerial images show the scope of the devastation. Trees toppled, bridges severely damaged, homes destroyed.
We are one nation. When one state hurts, we all hurt. and we must all work together to lift each other up. Working, building, restoring together. Our prayers are with the families who have lost loved ones, and we send them our deepest condolences. Through words cannot express the sadness one feels at times like this. I hope everyone in Louisiana knows that our country is praying for them and standing with them to help them in these difficult hours. They are very, very difficult. Thank you.
Now, this is 2019, United States of America. So now if you go home, hit the home button, and it shows combat aircraft. It goes over military news and topics and whatever. But then you click this forecast 2025. And this is where things get kind of weird. Right here. United States of America, 2025. Population, 99 million. And it says previously 332 million, down 70%. GDP, previously 18.4 trillion, down 91%.
World Population Day 2025, Rethinking Growth, Dignity, and the Future of Humanity, July 11, 2025.
Genesis chapter 7:11. In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the second month, on that day, all the springs of the great deep burst forth.
See this big area, low pressure right around Austin. Well, the activity has momentarily wound down, but there is still more rain occurring over the Guadalupe River Basin, which has seen a lot of rain over the past 12 to 14 hours. This huge area, over 6 inches, with local reports near Kerrville actually nearing the 10-inch mark. All of this rain falling at an astonishingly fast rate, complicating the already dangerous search and rescue efforts ongoing tonight.
The death toll from severe flooding in Texas continues to rise this morning. NBC News Now reporting 51 people have died and many are still missing. The mayor of Kerrville, Texas says 15 children are among those dead. The governor of Texas now declaring a disaster for parts of the state. Meanwhile, first responders are still searching for 27 children missing from a girls' summer camp. Floodwaters overwhelmed the campsite early Friday morning while the children were sleeping. One neighbor says he woke up Friday surrounded by water.
The water was going very quickly, and you can see the river just engulfing everything. The house next to us was floating away. All 4 of our vehicles were floating. It was gone. Like when we went to bed, it was there. When I woke up, it was gone.
Wow. Meanwhile, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem now says that President Trump will honor the governor's disaster declaration. She says he'll also provide federal aid to help those in the region recover.
And now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. Lasers now could one day manipulate rain and lightning. CBS This Morning contributor Michio Kaku is a physics professor at City College of New York. Professor, nice to see you. Extraordinary seeing Al Gore and Bill Clinton there together with Charlie, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they did not get into this discussion, though. But it is fascinating. I mean, lasers, really? To change the weather?
That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental. However, in the laboratory so far it works. When you have water vapor and you have dust particles or ice crystals, you can precipitate rain. It condenses around the seeds. These seeds can also be created by laser beams. By firing trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles, bringing down rain and even lightning. Go ahead.
Well, this fascinates me in part because, too, I remember reading the stories that China had used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds. I mean, did those really work then? We have some of these capabilities now?
Inconclusive. Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War, to wash out the Viet Cong.
Good job, guys.
In Kerrville, Texas, just northwest of San Antonio, first responders continue battling treacherous conditions, searching for those still missing following devastating 4th of July floods.
Not just every hour, every minute counts, which is why there's people in the air, people in the water, people on the ground right now, because they're looking to save every last life, and we will not give up that effort.
The Guadalupe River reached 26 feet high in less than an hour, the second highest ever. Lorena Guillen runs a restaurant in Kerrville. She says a nearby RV park was full for the holiday. All of those RVs, she said, were washed away.
The federal government needs to be here for the support and extra resources on the ground as well, and that is what we are doing.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says the Trump administration would approve a federal disaster declaration for Texas.
And the floodgates of the heavens were open.
A date that might look like any other day on the calendar, but for millions across the world it represents something far greater. A global moment to reflect on the heartbeat of humanity, our population, its growth, its challenges, and its future.
We've now passed 7 billion on this planet. When I was born, it was a little over 2. Food prices are rising, oil is ending. When our resources end in 20 years, given everything that we know of our species, do you really think we're going to just share?
So your answer to that is some kind of genocide?
No, it is not. It is not genocide. Our answer to this is Janus. Janus consists of a protein and an amino acid. Independently of each other, they're harmless. But when they're brought together in the subject, they act as a genetic trigger that prevents chromosomal division. The cell targeted can no longer replicate itself and is thereby rendered useless. The change is permanent and hereditary.
And which cells are targeted?
Those that control fertility, Becky. The purpose of Janus is to sterilize. The purpose of Janus is to sterilize the entire human race.
This is World Population Day, observed annually to highlight the urgency and importance of population issues, including reproductive health, gender equity, sustainability, and human dignity. This year's theme, empowering young people to create the families they want in a fair and hopeful world, reflects a seismic shift in how we must now think about the human story. It's not just about how many we are, it's about who we are, what we need, and what kind of world we are building together. As of mid-2025, the global population is estimated to exceed 8.2 billion people. That's nearly 71 million more people than just a year ago. But this increase hides a deeper truth. Population growth is slowing down. Fertility rates in many parts of the world, including countries like Japan, Italy, South Korea, and even China, are below replacement level, while others like India and Nigeria continue to grow at a faster pace. But numbers only tell part of the story. Today, over half of the world's population is under the age of 30. This means we are not just facing a population challenge, we are living through a youthquake. Billions of young people stand at the threshold of adulthood, searching for jobs, dignity, opportunity, and, for many, the chance to start families.
Lasers sound like the stuff of science fiction, right? Sound completely unbelievable. How could our military possibly be using those in future warfare? Guess what? We've just had a recent breakthrough, more great test results that are making lasers a reality. So it's called Athena. Lockheed Martin makes it, and they've been doing a lot of the pioneering in this laser field. Now, what's really exciting about it is that it's so hard to harness that much power and make it compact enough that it's actually going to make practical sense downrange. And they've proven that they can do that. Recently, they tested it against 5 moving drones, so realistic drones that they might go up against with, enemy forces might send against us, for example, or terrorists might send against us. And it successfully shot down all 5 of the drones. This is huge news because it means that in a realistic, practical setting, it's looking very promising. So it could be ready to field quite soon. So when you see the movies or you look at comic books or television shows, when you see laser weapons, they tend to be a color, right? Red or green or something like that. Real lasers, one of the key advantages that they provide is that they are invisible. You actually can't see them. You just see this damage suddenly starting to blow something up. So if we take a look now at what the Athena did to a truck. So we're looking at a truck engine, and the Athena within seconds was able to beam right in there, heat the whole thing up, and burn through the engine of this vehicle. So if you can imagine if you were in that vehicle, all of a sudden, this hole would start appearing in your engine, and the whole thing would just disappear. That's what these lasers do. Now, there's some other key advantages that we should mention. Let me give you 3 of them. 1, unlimited ammo. As long as we have power, we have an unlimited magazine. And downrange, of course, having unlimited ammo can be a huge advantage. 2nd, it's silent. You don't give the enemy any advance warning that it's coming. And then the 3rd one I wanted to touch on is that it travels at the speed of light. So not only are we delivering powerful, decisive effects, lethality, we're also doing it so rapidly they don't know what hit them. So if you could circle back to that example of being in the car again, that would happen so instantaneously, within seconds, you truly would have no idea what was happening. It would just suddenly start disintegrating, right? So what can we use these against? So we talked about the vehicle a bit. We talked about how Athena has just proven itself against drones. But in the real world application, our forces could use it against the drones. We could use it against aircraft. We could use it against vehicles on the ground, like we mentioned. We could also use it against fast attack boats. And in fact, Athena's sibling, Adam, a couple years ago proved that it could eliminate these fast attack boats. So if you imagine boats start trying to swarm one of our ships, not a problem for this laser. Burns right through the hull. As you can see right there, it's burning right through the hull. I'm incredibly excited about this news, this great news about the successful testing of Athena, because it means that we'll be putting these powerful weapons soon. We could put them in the hands of our warfighters and give them even more powerful weaponry to keep themselves safe and also to deliver the effects that we need. They can be used, laser weapons can be used offensively and of course defensively too, to help protect our homeland. Think of our airports that might be under threat from enemy drones. They could be used to protect we could use them statically and used to protect our airports. They could be used to protect our power grid, our nuclear plants. So there's lots of different exciting applications for this technology. It is no longer science fiction, but science fact.
So what happens when those dreams clash with economic instability, climate anxiety, unaffordable housing, and gender inequality? The UNFPA's 2025 State of World Population Report, titled The Real Fertility Crisis, makes one thing clear. Most people still want children, but cannot have them in the way, time, or number they wish.
dreamt about how things were.
How do you convince the other parents out there that we need to do this?
Careful, I'm going to get it.
Yes.
If that helps at all, but I'll tell you, my wife is not going to immunize her kids. Because I've got 4 of them, and when I go home, I'm not Dr. Oz, I'm Mr. Oz. And my wife is not going to immunize her kids.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. If your child had a cough, she'd get just what the doctor orders.
You know what? I make a lot more money if I take this kid's tonsils out.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV.
If there's a blue pill and a red pill, and the blue pill is half the price of the red pill and works just as well, why not pay half price?
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV.
My wife is not going to immunize her kids. My wife is not going to immunize her kids. Because I've got 4 of them, and when I go home, I'm not Dr. Oz, I'm Mr. Oz.
We trusted the scientists back in 1976 with the original swine flu shot, and a lot of people
it was a
got
debacle.
sick. Right.
Not only that, some people died, some people were paralyzed.
From the shot itself.
And people remember the swine flu vaccine as a terrible disaster.
But this is one time. Forget the conspiracy. Listen to our government agencies. These guys are telling the truth. You know, there's no conspiracy here, folks. Just get your damn vaccine. Just get your damn vaccine. Just get your damn vaccine.
The nail on the head. This is going to be a public relations, trust your government and your health officials public campaign. Mark my word, you and I are going to be talking about this a lot between now and fall.
Me, look on the CDC website as to what is in the swine flu vaccine. You know, aluminum, insect repellent, formaldehyde, mercury. Aluminum, insect repellent, formaldehyde, mercury.
My wife is not going to immunize her kids. Because I've got 4 of them, and when I go home, I'm not Dr. Oz,
And I woke up here.
Earth that was could no longer sustain our numbers. We were so many. We found a new solar system, dozens of planets and hundreds of moons. Each one terraformed, a process taking decades to support human life, to be new Earths. The central planets formed the Alliance. Ruled by an interplanetary parliament, the Alliance was a beacon of civilization. The savage outer planets were not so enlightened and refused Alliance control. The war was devastating. But the Alliance's victory over the Independents ensured a safer universe. And now, everyone can enjoy the comfort and enlightenment of true civilization.
Why were the Independents even fighting us? Why wouldn't they look to be more civilized?
I hear they're cannibals.
That's only Reavers. Reavers aren't real. Full well they are. I heard they attack settlers from space and kill them and wear their skins and rape them for hours and hours.
On most people's minds, it's the thing that has stirred up all this controversy, and that's his comments on Mexicans and his comments on race and immigration. Here's what he said about what he believes are studies, legitimate studies, about what he says rapists coming across the border and criminals. Here's his reaction.
Oh, well, if you look at the statistics of people coming, I didn't say about Mexico, I say the illegal immigrants. You look at the statistics on rape, on crime, on everything coming in illegally into this country, they're mind-boggling. If you go to Fusion, you will see a story about 80% of the women coming in. I mean, you have to take a look at these stories. And you know who owns Fusion? Univision. And it was in the Huffington Post. I said, let me get some of these articles because I've heard some horrible things. I deal a lot of talking with people on the Border Patrols.
Yeah.
They're incredible people.
I want to get some.
Our country.
I want to get some.
And
I want to get some clarification.
No, but Don, all you have to do is go to Fusion and pick up the stories on rape, and it's unbelievable when you look at what's going on. So all I'm doing is telling the truth.
It's true that there are dangers on the outer planets. So with so many social and medical advancements we can bring to the Independents, why would they fight so hard against us?
We meddle.
River?
People don't like to be meddled with. We tell them what to do, what to think. Don't run, don't walk. We're in their homes and in their heads, and we haven't the right. We're meddlesome.
River. We're not telling people what to think. We're just trying to show them how.
Your Excellency, are you ready
for a new world order?
We have new video tonight as authorities work to figure out who blew up part of the Georgia Guidestones. Now, this video isn't the best quality. We want to say that already, but the GBI says it shows a person leaving an explosive device at the structure and then running. Tonight, the Elbert County District Attorney is promising to prosecute whoever is behind this. While just one section of the structure was actually damaged for safety reasons, officials had to demolish it all.
The Skull and Bones is a secret society founded at Yale University in 1832. The Bonesmen, as they're called, choose their initiates just like Freemasonry. In fact, the only way one can join the Skull and Bones is if one is invited by inside members. Every year, only 15 members are allowed to enter, which is very mysterious because many popular figures throughout history have been members of this secret society. 3 famous United States presidents have been Bonesmen, such as William H. Taft, George H.W. Bush, and his son George W. Bush.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go
I'm
wild.
sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322?
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us?
Not much, because it's a secret.
Is there a secret handshake? Is there a secret code?
I wish there were something secret I could manifest.
322, a secret number?
There are all kinds of secrets.
The chemtrail generator. Oh. Let's make sure that that thing's working. We're going to check this out.
I got it. 133.6.
Oh, look at that. They're working. They're working. You can see the chemtrails coming out of the entrance here. Look at that.
I'm dying to take a picture
of that's cool.
My neighbor, you got it. So
chemtrail generator. I'm doing a video. Chemtrail generators are on. And yeah, there it is. Look, you can see them. Oh, hey, that's awesome. It's working.
Vaccinated, tracked, monitored, and controlled. Would people be willing to trade freedom and property rights for basic survival in a technocratic future? The destruction of all SMEs via lockdowns and unworkable social distancing policies has always been about eliminating the economic independence of the middle class and driving everyone down into poverty where they can be controlled. Also, by making those businesses unworkable, it massively drives down property prices, and then all of those buildings and units on the high street can be bought up for pennies on the dime. This has always been a massive wealth transfer. Only massive global corporations that are already on side with the New World Order will survive, and they will enjoy a significant monopoly, especially in an increasingly digital online age. The article continues. So, as you can imagine, after hearing all of this, it turned into quite the heated discussion and escalated beyond anything I've ever witnessed before. In the end, it was implied by the PMO that the whole agenda will move forward no matter who agrees with it or not. That it won't just be Canada, but in fact all nations will have similar roadmaps and agendas.
All nations will have similar roadmaps and agendas.
She's still telling me what to do. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Are we rolling tape on that?
There you go. You got a brush? Yes. Just a one-finger victory salute.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere. Nope, no weapons over there. Maybe under here. The main reason we went into Iraq at the time was we thought he had weapons of mass destruction. It turns out he didn't. What did Iraq have to do with what?
The attack on the World Trade Center.
Nothing.
Borders seem less real to people. Terrorist attacks feel inescapable.
Fears about unrelenting migration mount as people continue to flee violence and deprivation in their homelands. In the wake of these understandable fears, we've seen a series of alarming responses. And the impulse is to hunker down, shut the gates, build walls, exit at this moment is precisely the wrong answer. This is a moment to lead boldly and recommit ourselves to common principles which remain essential to my nation and to all liberal democracies all over the world. But the greatest threat on this front springs from the distinct illiberal and external actors who equate their success with fracturing the liberal international order. This movement is principally led by Russia. Under President Putin, Russia is working with every tool available to them to, one, whittle away at the edges of the European project, test the fault lines among Western nations, and return to a politics defined by spheres of influence. And the single greatest bulwark for our transatlantic partnership is the unshakable commitment of the United States to all of our NATO allies. It is a sacred obligation we have embraced, that an attack on one is an attack on all. That can never be placed in question.
All right, what is the Trilateral Commission?
It's an organization founded in 1973 by David Rockefeller to bring together business and political leaders from the United States, Europe, Japan, so they could work together for better economic and political cooperation between their nations.
That's what they'd like us to believe. But you see, what they're really up to is a scheme to plant their own loyal members in positions of power in this country, to work to erase national boundaries and create an international community, and in time bring about a one world government with David Rockefeller calling the shots.
I think, my mother had an expression, out of everything terrible, something good will come if you look hard enough for it. I think this presents us with some significant opportunities to make some real changes. We are at an inflection point, I believe, in the world economy. Not just the world economy, in the world. It occurs every 3 or 4 generations. As one of the top military people said to me in a secure meeting the other day, 60 million people died between 1900 and 1946. And since then, we established a liberal world order, and that hadn't happened in a long while. A lot of people dying, but nowhere near the chaos. And now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it. And we've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it.
There are all kinds of secrets.
It's so secret we can't talk about.
I wish there were something secret I could manifest.
Action Committee is asking the Federal Election Commission to approve fundraising and other efforts in support of a Ron DeSantis 2024 presidential campaign.
I-Team investigator Adam Wasser uncovers who's behind the effort and what they hope to do.
Governor Ron DeSantis has repeatedly deflected questions about a 2024 presidential run.
What is this obsession with 24? We don't even have the 22 election. What's your answer to those people that ask again and again? Yeah, I'm not considering anything beyond doing my job. We've got a lot of stuff going on in Florida.
But a new political action committee called Ready for Ron is emailing potential voters and running ads on TV and social media, trying to draft DeSantis as a presidential candidate.
We have only begun to fight.
To beat Biden, America needs a fighter. America needs Ron DeSantis.
I've heard the speculations. Some individuals say that he would make a great president, primarily because of his conservative values.
They're trying to say, hey, we want you to get in the 2024 race.
No.
You're making a face there.
Yeah, because he is a Trump little protege.
First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Donald Trump.
We're all cut from the same cloth.
We have the mightiest military in the long history of humankind. We have the best and most devoted workers ever to walk the face of the earth.
And now we're combining all of these amazing strengths for the most aggressive vaccine project in history. There's never been a vaccine project anywhere in history like this. And I just want to make something clear. It's very important. Vaccine or no vaccine, we're back. And we're starting the process. And in many cases, they don't have vaccines. And a virus or a flu comes, and you fight through it. We haven't seen anything like this in 100 and some odd years, 1917. But you fight through it, and people sometimes, I guess, we don't know exactly yet, but it looks like they become immune, or at least for a short while and maybe for life.
Where am I? Grandpa? What are you doing here?
Chris, welcome to the Skull and Bones Society. This is where the most powerful men in the world are groomed for their futures. Every president, every CEO, every douchebag named Ryan Seacrest. The Skull and Bones Society has been a part of my family for decades, and we want you to become a member.
Really? Wow, cool!
Excellent! You get your own stock portfolio, a percentage of the 9/11 Victims Fund, and the best medical care on the planet. You'll be kept as healthy as a horse.
You cannot sit back and wait for a savior. You can't opt out because you don't feel sufficiently inspired by this or that particular candidate. This is not a rock concert. This is not Coachella. We don't need a messiah.
Central Wisconsin company offering its employees a microchip plant held a party to kick off the new program. Around 50 employees at 3 Square Market gathered to get the microchip. It's about the size of a grain of rice and gets implanted into the hand using a syringe. Participating employees will be able to use it to open doors, log onto their computers, and pay for snacks in the break room.
Retail is changing rapidly, and brick-and-mortar stores face more challenges than ever, like these long lines. Let's follow this customer and see how the shopping experience is different with Fujitsu's RFID self-checkout. At first, he shops as usual. The aisles look the same. But notice how all items are pre-tagged with an RFID tag, eliminating the need for scanning individual barcodes at point of sale. Now that he's done shopping, it's time to check out. And wait in a long line? Not so fast. Let's replace half the traditional checkouts with RFID checkout with Palm Secure. Of course, our shopper chooses to check out at the RFID checkout because there's no wait. To begin the checkout process, the customer walks up to a vacant RFID checkout. The customer checks in with his palm using Fujitsu Palm Secure Palm Vein Biometrics. The screen welcomes him as a loyalty customer, and then he simply walks through the RFID checkout. The RFID checkout will scan all items as he walks through with an extraordinarily high accuracy. Once scanned and paid, the happy customer exits the store, not having had to wait in a long line.
Number 8, we will finally complete the biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. For years, Congress has required biometric entry-exit visa tracking systems, but it has never been completed. The politicians are all talk, no action, never happens, never happens. Hillary Clinton, all talk. Unfortunately, when there is action, it's always the wrong decision. Do you ever notice?
You guys have got to try the cold chai.
I've had it. Did you talk about vice presidential possibilities with Senator Warren?
You guys have got to try the cold chai.
Did you talk about vice presidential possibilities, Senator Warren? Did you talk about vice presidential possibilities?
do not think an angel rides in the whirlwind and directs this storm. This work continues. The story goes on. And an angel still rides in the whirlwind and directs this storm. God bless you all. And God bless America.
Shame on you. Shame on you. Get ready to read all these words on this page without making a mistake. Look at the letter at the end and remember the sound it makes. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready to read this word the fast way. Get ready. Kid. Yes, kid. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. What word? Kid. Yes, kid. Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready. What word? Steal. Yes, steal. Read these words the fast way. Get ready. Play. Yes, play. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Let's read these words the fast way without making a mistake. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready. Kick. Yes, kick. Get ready. Steal. Yes, steal. Get ready. Play. Yes, play. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Lesson 60 on page 150.
You will never see it coming.
In my administration, we will ensure that this system is in place. And I will tell you, it will be on land, it will be on sea, it will be in air. We will have a proper tracking system.
Now, let's reimagine this in a clothing store. As with the previous customer, this customer shops as she normally would. Notice how in an apparel store, all items have hanging RFID tags. Looks like she's ready to check out. The customer approaches a traditional point-of-sale checkout, complete with a daunting line. But wait, now the customer has another option. This customer also prefers not to wait in the long line, so she approaches the Mini Express self-checkout. Notice again how the customer does not have to remove items from her cart. She simply drops the basket in a slot and pushes the scan button. Once scanned, the customer is given multiple payment options. She chooses to pay with Palm, a quick and easy way to pay. The customer takes the receipt and is able to leave the store without any hassle. So why not go from this to this with Fujitsu's newest innovations that are reinventing shopping with RFID scanning options at the point of sale.
Let's talk about COVID, because Operation Warp Speed is one of the positives from the administration, and you've brought up the need for vaccines. You've actually told people to get vaccines. I'm just curious. I got the Pfizer vaccine. Which vaccine did you get? Have you shared that with us yet?
Well, I got the Pfizer, and I would have been very happy with any of them. I thought a very bad statement was when they did a pause on Johnson & Johnson. I think that frightened people. That was a bad thing to do. At that time, when they did the pause, they had 6 people that may have had some difficulty out of millions that received it, but I think the pause was a very bad thing to do.
Barack Obama. Donald Trump. And now we come to the present. Once again, we place our trust in the idea of a president.
Remember that World Economic Forum article from 2016? Welcome to 2030. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. This article is in the category of Global Agenda and the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And it basically gives a glimpse into what looks like a dystopian outcome of the Agenda 2030 Sustainable Development Goals plan. In this future, people don't own their homes. Everything they use, including right down to their kitchen utensils, are rented on a subscription model. They live in shared accommodation with strangers and make use of public transport and/or self-driving electric cars. They are unable to venture outside of the city limits to the countryside, as these areas are deemed off-limits to human beings in order to maintain biodiversity and the natural environment, etc. The cities are all smart and maintained with mass surveillance. No one has any real freedom. Their towns and cities are also in compliance with the green agenda, streets are pedestrianised, and traffic congestion is non-existent, just as the lockdowns were designed to achieve. As we know by now, COVID, of course, was a smokescreen for pushing this green agenda. Anyway, by crashing the economy, making it so that people are unable to work, unable to pay their bills, loans, mortgages, and may in fact lose their homes, desperation may set in. This, of course, is another Hegelian dialectic. Create a major economic problem, a major collapse, generate mass panic, and then offer an economic solution with onerous terms and conditions and caveats. You'll be permitted to keep the roof over your head and to eat food, so long as the roof over your head belongs to the globalist banksters, and so long as you accept life as cattle in a digitally connected farm where you have no bodily sovereignty.
When a man and woman get married, and the word invokes maritime admiralty law, they enter a business contract and obtain a marriage license to do business as a partnership. If you go to a church, which means a bank according to Black's law, you are going to a place of worship. Everything is a vessel, a fictional ship created out of thin air on paper in the sea of corporate commercial banking laws of pirates of the high seas. A person, according to Black's Law Dictionary, is a monster. According to canon law, Goyim, translated from the Hebrew to mean nations, cattle, chattel, animals, beasts, non-human according to rabbinical sources which are authoritative in ecclesiastical or canon law, which includes Talmudic rulings. Goyim have no rights. Admiral or admiralty laws apply to the authority of the captain, who is the admiral of the ship. The captain, or rather the admiral, who has absolute power and control of the ship, can make up the rules as he goes along. The word admiral comes from the cognates admire, and the Phoenician Hebrew Roman name of deity, Saturn El. Wherever there is a crown, you had better admire and have admiration for the king who is the captain, commander-in-chief, or else. Under common law, there's no such thing as a victimless crime, and a victim receives compensation and redress for damages. Aboard a ship, the captain can make any act of crime and he can impose sanctions accordingly. If you have a house and want to sell it, you put it up for sale. You are placing a sale on a ship which will set sail and dock to another port when sold. When you send a package somewhere abroad, you are shipping it, even though it's more than likely traveling by land. If you are losing your house, it's said that your house is underwater. If you get in trouble with the IRS, or if you go to prison, it's said you have landed in hot or deep water, and someone has to come and bail you out.
That we need to take advantage of the situations before us to promote change on a grander scale for the betterment of everyone. The members who were opposed and ones who brought up key issues that would arise from such a thing were completely ignored. Our opinions and concerns were ignored. We were simply told to just do it. All I know is that I don't like it, and I think it's going to place Canadians into a dark future. Regardless as to the authenticity of the information here, we have predicted something similar to this over the past few months. We know how hellish and dystopian the Great Reset and the Fourth Industrial Revolution could turn out to be. We're already living in a nightmarish New World Order as it is. No human contact, no love, no hugs, no hobbies, no handshakes, no leisure pursuits, no public gatherings, no family get-togethers, no parties, no pubs, no concerts, no spontaneity in life, no meaning, no joy, no smiles, no hope, no point. This is intolerable, and it's designed to be intolerable.
A ship pulls into a port and gets tied off at a dock. When you go to a court, your case is placed in a docket. All courts in the land are judiciaries. They are judicial courts operating under mixed Roman, common, canon, and admiralty maritime law under a crown. They are ships docked on land. This, according to the Judiciary Act of 1789 passed by Congress, which made all district courts admiralty courts having maritime admiralty jurisdiction. The United States of America and the United States are two different entities. One is a corporation, the other employees of the corporation. The United States of America never ever did win its independence from the Crown in the Revolutionary War. The Charter of Virginia of 1606 granted colonists a license to settle and colonize America by the King. The Treaty of 1783, after Cornwallis surrendered to Washington at Yorktown, completely contradicts and negates the generally assumed and taught notion that America won its independence from Britain. The first article of the Treaty of 1783 relinquishes all claims to America except for the continued tribute to the King under the Charter of Virginia of 1606. The Revolutionary War was over in 1781, but the Treaty of 1783 was signed 3 years later, which means the war was not over, nor was it won. The Treaty of 1783 upheld the tribute to the King's venture by the colonists, which means America remains to this day a British colony that pays tribute to the Crown, as imposed by the Charter of 1606. America was conquered.
Genesis chapter 3. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman,
Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden?
And the woman said unto the serpent,
We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
And the serpent said unto the woman,
Ye shall not surely die. For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
You think I'm joking?
And fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever.
If we turn against each other based on divisions of race or religion,
Come on, try getting it out.
Ding, 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 bong. That's all, folks.